Okay, so we're going to react to Loay Alshareef, who is a Saudi man and a proud advocate for Israel. And in this video, he's going to be talking about the Jews' indigeneity to Israel, their connection to the land of Israel, historically and biblically. So before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Leave your comments. Follow me at Rafi the Realtor on Instagram for all of your real estate needs in Miami and the greater South Florida area. And you can support the channel by going to the Buy Me a Coffee link, which can be found in the pinned comment or description. Let's get into it.
Jews are not foreign colonialists in their ancestral homeland. The Jewish people are not foreign colonialists. They are indigenous to this land. And anyone who says otherwise, tell them, please tell me where the word Jew comes from. They were never called Jews before 586 BCE. You know what they were called? Hebrews. Even Jonah, when he was asked by the people on the ship, who are you? You're causing lots of trouble in the sea. Says, Ivri Anochi, only a Hebrew. They were always called the Hebrews. But after 586 BCE, when the Babylonians captured the people of Israel from the portion of the land that was called Judea, they asked them, where are you guys from? They said, we come from Judea. We are the Jews. If your ancestors, or if the ancestors of the Jews here on this podium were brought from the portion of the land that was called Binyamin, you would now be called the Binyaminites, not the Jews. So understanding history is so important to those who say that Israel or the Jewish people are foreign entities in our region. I was 2 days ago in Rome, and I went to the Colosseum, and I was so astonished when I saw the Arch of Titus. You know why? Because in the Arab world, there is a narrative that says the Jews are lying to the world by telling them that they had a temple in Jerusalem. This is a big lie. And this is Al Jazeera's favorite plot. And by the way, I was a big fan of Al Jazeera. I'm not going to deny that. I was repeating all their lies when I was a kid. Jews want to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque and they want to build the not the Jewish temple, I'm sorry. The so-called Jewish temple. There was no Jewish temple in Jerusalem, of course. Are you kidding me? You want me to believe in the Bible? I don't believe in the corrupt book. This is what we were taught. Even though we don't know anything about the Bible, how it was written, how the Jews were taken into consideration, how to write this amazing book. Jews taught world writing. No, there was nothing called the temple. But you know what you can find in the Arch of Titus? You can find Jews carrying a menorah. They were the Jews exiled from Jerusalem, from Judea. And Titus was so proud of doing this. But you know what is the significance? That the menorah comes from the Jewish temple. And if they don't believe in texts, they have to know that stones do not lie. So, I want to conclude with something other than education, but I believe education is a very, very, very important thing to do. When this war ends, we have to de-radicalize Gaza. We have to de-radicalize many schools in the Muslim and the Arab world. But I please want you to know that the Arab voices that support peace in the Middle East, they have a message to many people who conflate Muslims and Islamists. There's a difference between peaceful Muslims who want to pray 5 times a day, celebrate the month of Ramadan, go to Mecca, go do Umrah, and the radical Islamists. A peaceful Muslim would not shut down the roads in Amsterdam or in Toronto or in Montreal to pray. This is not a ceremony of prayer. This is a ceremony of showing power that we are there and one day we will take over. And your liberal freedom that you are giving to those who misuse it will need to be rechecked. But peaceful Muslims, because so many, I don't say so many, but some people who support Israel or who support people they say, well, Islam by itself is lethal, dangerous, we cannot trust Islam. I tell them, please make the difference between spiritual Islam and radical Islam. Please make the difference between peaceful Muslims and radical Islamists. Please make the difference between the Palestinians and Hamas. Because I believe in the right of the Palestinians to live in dignity. I believe in the right of the Palestinians to live in peace. And to those outsiders, the protesters, when they said free Palestine, I said, I agree with you. Free Palestine from Hamas.
Okay, nice words. I like Loay. I think I asked him to come on, but I don't know if he was willing to come on because he's not really used to being challenged by the Jewish side. The Jewish side just loves him because he's an Arab advocating for Israel, so they don't question him. I just don't think Palestine, the Palestinians and Hamas are separate entities. I think we're deluding ourselves in thinking that's the case. The vast majority of them support Hamas. They still support Hamas, and they would support any other resistance group, quote unquote. So this idea that Islam and Islamism are two separate things, to me, is also nonsense. Loay clearly chooses to follow the Quranic scripture that supports Israel, that admits that Israel was promised to the Jews, but he really is a reformist. He's not a truly Orthodox Muslim. He doesn't follow the later teachings of Muhammad, or the idea that the Muslims are effectively the new Jews. The land is now Muslim land. He clearly doesn't subscribe to that, or at least he says he doesn't. So I think really the caveat here is there can be peaceful Muslims, but Islam inherently, because of abrogation, which means that the later teachings cancel out the earlier teachings, the violent teachings cancel out the more peaceful teachings. You can't therefore have a peaceful Islam unless you decide to take the peaceful components and ignore the violent ones, which it seems like Loay has done, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, most Palestinians haven't done so. So until that happens, we're kind of in a rough situation. If they all thought like Loay, we'd be fine, but they do not.
A call for action is something that I will conclude. Thank you, my dear friend Nathan, for inviting me here to the Netherlands. And thank you to all organizations in Europe, in America, in Canada that invite the growing minority. Please keep inviting us, that's one. And also, I want you to know that together we can make it work. We can make it work because we believe in a prosperous Middle East. What is our message? To annihilate the Palestinians? To destroy the Palestinians? To stand against the Palestinians? Of course not. We would never badmouth the Palestinians as people. But we would stand against Hamas and radical Islamists because we know them far better.
You would never badmouth the Palestinians as people. It's just very cutesy rhetoric. It doesn't. There's no need to badmouth people for the sake of badmouthing them, but criticizing them, yes, that's necessary. Criticizing either side is necessary. I would never badmouth them. I would only badmouth Hamas. Where do you think Hamas comes from? It's just like it works beautifully for Western people eat this up. I hope Loay is truthful. I hope this isn't some taqiyya nonsense, just to like kind of get people on your side and then slowly feed them more nonsense. Meaning what he's saying overall is nice. He's acknowledging the Jewish connection to the land. That's great. But then he's using this like this butterfly language. So I like him, but I'm kind of not sure about him. I'm not sure about him because he isn't really keeping it. He isn't keeping it a buck, as they say. Only way for me to know is if I spoke to him directly.
Than those outside protesting, and we know them far better than the white American Gen Zs, and we know them far better than the Europeans who pretend to stand against Israel, saying that they are doing this for the Palestinians. They do not understand the Middle East. They do not understand radical ideology. They do not understand the Arab world better than Arabs and Muslims themselves. You cannot be more Arab than I am. You cannot be more than Muslim than I am. And I'm telling you, the only way forward is for Arab countries to come along with Israel, a prosperous Middle East, a Middle East where Isaac and Ishmael reconcile, a Middle East where the children of Abraham thrive, live together, a Middle East where the prophecy of Isaiah becomes true when he said, Lo yasa goy el goy heref velo yilmidu od milhama. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. They shall learn war no more. This is my personal battle, and I will keep fighting for it in social media, in podcast, everywhere. Proudly, whatever the results are, whatever the consequences are, I defeated ignorance and darkness with knowledge, facts, and the truth, and I will keep doing this no matter what it costs. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Loay, credit to you, respect to you for what you do. I think I speak for the vast majority of Jews when we say we appreciate you. With that said, I still need to understand where you stand when it comes to Islam, where you stand truly when it comes to Palestinians, how we resolve this thing, right? Because some of this language is a little too kumbaya and it doesn't really sit with reality. I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Let me know. Do you agree with my concerns, my questions? Do you feel like I'm overthinking it? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, follow me on Instagram at Rafi the Realtor for all of your real estate needs in Miami and the greater South Florida area. And you can support my work by taking a moment to go to the Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment or description. Any support would be so greatly appreciated. I hope to see you on the next one. Until next time, peace.